Have you ever seen a little girl standing on the side of the road, crying so hard her voice trembled, but not because she was lost, but because she wanted to be found? Tonight's story is one you won't forget. And when you hear what those bikers did after she said, "Please arrest me," you'll realize that miracles sometimes wear leather jackets and ride in thunder. So stay with me till the end, because what started as a desperate cry for help turned into something that restored faith in humanity. It was late afternoon when the roar of engines echoed down a quiet country highway. The Iron Hearts, a local biker group known for their loud bikes but even louder hearts, were cruising together after a charity event. They weren't troublemakers, just ordinary men with rough hands, leather vests, and stories of their own. But as they slowed near an abandoned gas station, they noticed something unusual: a little girl no more than 8 or 9 standing barefoot by the road. Her face was smudged, her hair tangled, her dress torn at the hem. She was clutching a small, dirty teddy bear staring at the ground. "Hey, is that a kid?" one of them, Jake, said as he slowed down. "Looks like she's alone," replied Mark, their leader, pulling his bike to the side. The rumble of engines faded, replaced by the uneasy sound of the wind. The little girl didn't run, she didn't even flinch. Instead, when the men took off their helmets and approached, she looked up, her eyes wide with tears, and said something that froze them where they stood. "Please arrest me." Jake frowned. "What arrest you, sweetheart? We're not cops." But she shook her head desperately. "Please, you have bikes and jackets like the police on TV. Please take me away, just don't send me back home." Mark crouched down, softening his voice. Hey, slow down. What's your name, kiddo?" "Emma," she whispered, hugging the teddy bear tighter. "All right, Emma," he said gently. "What happened? Why do you want to be arrested?" Tears streamed down her cheeks. "Because if you take me to jail, maybe I'll get food, maybe I'll be safe." The men exchanged glances, their tough expressions cracking. Mark felt something twist inside him. He'd been a soldier once, he'd seen fear in adults, but never like this, never in a child. "Where's your mom and dad, Emma?" She hesitated, her lips trembling. "Mommy's sick, she doesn't wake up much anymore, and Mommy's friend, he's mean, he yells and throws things. He told me if I tell anyone, he'll make Mommy go away forever." Jake clenched his fists. Another biker, Ben, looked away, fighting tears. Mark took a deep breath. "All right, you're safe now, nobody's going to hurt you, okay? We'll figure this out." But Emma shook her head. "He'll come, he always comes." Just then, a rusty blue pickup truck roared by, slowing down as it passed. The driver, a rough-looking man with a beard and beer can in hand, stared at the group. Emma gasped and hid behind Mark's leg. "That's him," she whispered. "That's Mommy's friend." Mark stood tall, his jaw tight. The man in the truck stopped, yelled something vulgar, and demanded they back off. "That's my girlfriend's kid, she ran off, I'm taking her home." But before he could step out, the entire line of bikers revved their engines in unison, a wall of thunder and defiance. It wasn't violence, it was protection. Mark pointed at the man. "You're not taking her anywhere." The man tried to act tough, but even he could feel the power of a dozen bikers glaring at him. "You think you can stop me?" Mark didn't move an inch. "We don't think, we know." The man cursed, spat on the ground, and sped off, tires screaming down the road. Emma was shaking uncontrollably. Mark knelt down again. "You're okay, kiddo, he's gone." "Please don't send me back," she whispered again, voice breaking. Mark took off his leather jacket and wrapped it around her tiny shoulders. "We won't, I promise." That night, the bikers took her to their clubhouse, a converted garage with old couches, neon lights, and a smell of oil and coffee. Not exactly a place for a child, but that night it became a sanctuary. They ordered pizza, gave her a blanket, and let her sit on the big couch in front of the heater. Emma ate like she hadn't eaten in days. Every few bites, she'd look up at them and ask softly, "You're not mad at me?" Ben smiled gently. "Mad at you, kid, you're the bravest person we've ever met." While she finally slept, the men sat around the table in silence. The oldest biker, Joe, who had lost his daughter years ago, wiped his eyes. "We can't just let her go back there, that man will hurt her, or worse." Mark nodded. "We won't. I'll call social services in the morning, but we're staying with her tonight. No one touches that girl again." Morning came, sunlight streamed through the dusty windows. When Emma woke up, she found a small toy motorcycle beside her pillow. It's yours, Jake said with a grin, so you never forget your biker friends. For the first time she smiled, a shy, fragile smile. Later that day, a social worker arrived with the police. They confirmed Emma's story. Her mother had been found unconscious but alive and the man had fled town. Emma would be placed in protective care until her mother recovered. When the officer asked who had found her, Emma pointed at the group. "The bikers," she said proudly, "my heroes." Mark knelt down and looked into her eyes. "You don't ever need to be afraid again, okay? You have a whole gang watching over you now." Emma hugged him tight. "Promise you'll visit." Mark smiled through tears. "You bet we will." Weeks passed. The bikers kept their word. They visited Emma at the foster home, brought her small gifts, helped her mother find a rehab program, and even started a fund called Emma's Ride to support abused children and single mothers. Local news picked up the story. What began as a heartbreaking cry for help turned into a movement of kindness. 1 year later, at a charity event, Emma stood on stage, healthy, smiling, holding the hand of her mother. Behind her stood the Iron Hearts, their leather vests gleaming under the sunlight. When it was her turn to speak, Emma took a deep breath and said into the microphone, "A year ago I asked bikers to arrest me, but instead they rescued me. They didn't have badges, they had hearts." The crowd stood and applauded. Mark wiped his eyes behind his sunglasses.